Oh, hey guys. Man, I made this video once already, but then some things changed, so I deleted it, and now I have to redo it. But some things just flat out suck down the road. There is pros and cons to having a pet on the road. One of the big cons is, due to the job, you can't really have vet appointments. So usually it means you're going to pay more things. If you got to go in, it usually means you're stuck to a 24-hour hospital. Because some of the cons of the job. Well, I have definitely spent a lot of money. Well, today's the 15th. My cat, what I originally thought was a UTI based on the symptoms. Well, okay, this started on like the 5th, like the 4th going into the 5th. The symptoms after I googled it on the 5th, it looked like a UTI. It was not. Same symptoms. Difference is UTI is bacteria based. The other one is crystals and stones. And crystals, think of them like picture a Pop-Tart in your head, right? Like the corner of a crust. Not that hard though. Like individually, if they're not clumped together, it's the texture of a sand, like a pebble of sand, like a piece of sand. Very granular, coarse, smooth though. None of this is like sharp. These are all smooth. Now clumped together, it's a soft clumping. But I guess I can harden too when they get mixed with other things. Who the hell has shitty ass brakes? Who's squealing? Now that said, my cat has those crystals and the stones. And I'm starting to get loaded finally. Cool. How do those happen? Well, cats always have the little crystals, those individual things. Now, how many depends on their pH of the urine. Think of the pH in the urine like how much chlorine you put in the pool. Too much, you get too many. Like, I don't know why you have the crystals and you need them, but they're a natural part of the cat. So too many is too bad though. Too much is just too bad. Now, there's also 3 different types of them. There's I forget. There's magnesium, ammonia, and one more. You all know, like, I don't know what ones my cat has until I send one in for a sample. But he is on a diet food now. He's been on it for almost 3 days. But the food does not dissolve, it's already in the system. So, holy fuck. Goddamn speed beam is going into the trailer. Yeah, that me doing this, that was him slamming into me. You might actually see something move too. So you can't dissolve it, so he has to flush these out hard long enough. We'll flush them out of the system. And say he was obstructed too. He was obstructed. That's what the stones were. It was trying to flush them out, and they were blocking them up. So he has to flush them out, say unobstructed long enough for the food to get into the system, and then once the food's caught up, because these episodes he's calling, they don't know what caused. Look, it could be stress, it could be diet, it could be genetic. Like, they don't know what caused mine. My cat's 7 years old. Like, he's had perfect health pretty much up until this point. So they have no idea what caused it. Alright, so these episodes, you can't really react to them. You gotta be proactive. So really, reacting is really just trying to flush them out long enough. And I mean, there's a couple surgeries you could do. Couple of surgery, like one of them, pretty much you would cut them open. These can't happen to females, but most likely, usually they're males. The neuter males that get them for some reason. Don't understand why you need the balls to prevent this, but okay. But you cut them open, you know, little slit across, across the abs, well, the stomach, and then you go into his bladder and you scoop him out, and then you flush him out. All, like, anything that's in from behind the bladder, well, between the bladder and the dick, yeah, you flush them out. And you just keep flushing, and you scoop, keep flushing. Meaning a catheter goes in his dick, pretty much. Yeah, painful. Like, I don't have EM. They can keep that. He had that happen 3 times. Alright, so now that I'm kind of giving you the brief TLDR what happened, let's get into the actual details, right? So also, this was a very expensive week. I am glad I had it on hand. He almost cleaned me out. That also means, though, what I'm going to tell you, I did spend $7,400 on them for this, during this whole thing. That also means, though, anything I told you in this video, because I didn't go put myself in debt for this, I was doing, well, not this video, but my videos, meaning saving money. I was doing, obviously, $7,400 cash on hand. I was doing that. This was within 6 weeks. So, now with that said, so I had to start around sometime between the 4th and going into the 5th. Because 6th, I was in Flagstaff and he was hospitalized for an emergency and it was critical. Like, well, he was technically was critical because he was blocked, but I mean, they have a rating of like 1 to 6, 6 being pretty much you're on death's door, 3 being middle ground. When I showed up, he hadn't peed for like 36 hours at this point, which is usually a cat need. Well, I'll just continue this. Okay, so I went in Flagstaff because they were the closest to me at the time. That cost me $2,000 for them to knock him out, put a catheter in, drain him, give me all kinds of pain meds, antibiotics, and other things, and send him out. They did recommend he gets hospitalized, but the place where I was, the only 24-hour place in Flagstaff, was only open from Friday to Monday morning. Like Friday night to Monday morning. They are weekend only, 24 hours pretty much. They're emergency, a real emergency, you know, right? Nothing's open, so that's where they fit in. Alright, so that also, instead of having Phoenix was where I was next, that dealt with him next. Flagstaff compared to Phoenix cost me an extra $800 for the procedure, $300 on the critical assessment fee. So I mean, it cost me like pretty much an extra $1,000 right there, just for Flagstaff alone. And now, but they did tell me to have the catheter removed within 24 hours. Keep it in for 24 hours, remove it. They didn't really know how bad he was. Alright, so I went down to Flagstaff, because, 6th was Sunday, so I went to Flagstaff Monday, kept it in for, they said 12 to 24 hours. I kept it in for like 22. I should have kept it in longer, which I kind of did. Hindsight being 2020. They removed it. It cost me $1,100 to remove it. Oh no, it cost me $500 to remove it, which is fucking great at that time. I had him for 6 hours. Within 4 hours, he reblocked, and I was told he could reblock 2 to 3 more times. Okay, so right there was $2,500, right? So I put him back in, and pretty much immediately, right? 6 hours, he reblocked, put him back in, and that's when the real fun started. And I was already starting to stress out. I've never dealt with anything like this, including me. Like, I've never had stones. Like, I'm a pretty healthy person. My cat was pretty healthy at this time. 7 years, I mean, he's turning 7 here in like 2 weeks. Put him in again. And this is when they did a more in-depth. Oh, before I do this, like, also his blood at this point between both places, it wasn't like yellow, it wasn't pink, it was straight cherry Kool-Aid. It was straight bleached red, pretty much. There was no hint of it being actual urine. It looked like it came straight from his veins. So that's bad. Also, his I don't know if this applies to humans. I don't really know what it means. I just know there was 2 elevated levels. Like, his kidneys were also very unhappy. In Flagstaff, his kidneys were very pissed off. They had a slight infection, so they're very pissed off. I'm getting loaded. Again, they're shoving a big old load of my ass. Literally. So there's a thing called creatine. I guess that's supposed to be pretty much under 2 for considered healthy and, average, normal. And he was 12. They had to dilute it, meaning, I guess, run it 5 or 6 times in a little thingy to get any reading, and that was 12. And there was a thing called BUN, and it was 111. Don't ask me what the fuck these mean. I don't know, but I mean, I guess you can Google it, whatever. Those are 2 levels they pointed it out and said these are way too fucking high, and these need to come down significantly. To come down, like that's what those 2 they pointed out. They made sure that his kidneys were unhappy, and then it was like kidneys being unhappy was making everything else unhappy too. But they don't have to be tied together. Your kidneys can be happy, but your bladder can be unhappy. All right, so now back to Phoenix, because that is part of the story here. Hospitalized him. At this point, I spent $2,500 just to put the catheter in, and the assessment, and all the X-rays, and ultrasound, and the first $2,400. It was like $1,500. Therefore, it's $4,000, right? All right. So, what did they find out in the first 24 hours? Well, this is the 3rd time he's got it. Oh, 2nd time he's had a catheter put back in. Like I said, the creatine and BUN, those were way too high. He was pretty much still pissing straight blood. Please don't hit me. Please definitely don't. Alright. Getting a little nervous there. So, really, they just recommended keeping him hospitalized every 24 hours, like keep him in for 24 hours basis, and just keep flushing fluids through him. Pretty much are going to flood his system so he flushes out faster, and eventually start easing it back, because they want to match whatever he puts in, whatever you put in. They want to come out. So that was the plan. So yeah, the first day of them doing that, kidneys, after the first 24 hours, kidneys became happy, meaning his creatine, that's what they call it, which I think is that's the protein stuff. When like, for example, like what was happening, let's make a side note. What was happening is those little crystals, they had too many of them. They rubbed along his bladder's lining, pissed up the bladder. The bladder started bleeding from irritation. Well, it got irritated, then it started bleeding, and then there's this mucoid protein thing, like the lining of the bladder actually started getting ripped off, right? And that was dumped into the system. And then as it was going to his urethra, it created a second inflammation, so you had 2, and the same thing was happening with the urethra. Ripped the lining, made it bleed, dumped the protein. So I think that creatine is a protein. I think. But either way, that was what was causing the issue. So this whole plugging stuff was the blood, the stones, and the protein. 2 sticky things grabbing onto pretty much sand and plugging them up. That was what was causing this. But after the first 24 hours, his creatine and his BUN pretty much cut themselves by like 60%. Just fucking plummeted. Significant improvement is what they said. Like, it wasn't noticeable. It wasn't trending right words. It was significant improvement, which is great. That was good news. They also recommended hospitalizing him again for another 24 hours. I said, okay, let's do it. Each day hospitalization was $1,100. So that means we're already at $5,100. Alright. So this is going on day 2. $5,100. Gotta pay it up front. Day 2, same thing. Flushing. For the first 12 hours, they flooded the system. Just kept flooding it and flooding it. And then, second half of the 12 hours, they started easing it back. Easing the fluids back to more of a normal intake. But day 2, as they did this, he kept replugging himself every 2 hours. And you know, we were originally gonna try a trial discharge at the end of the second day, meaning the full 24 hours. So going into the third morning, they were gonna send him out with me and see how he does. But no, that went out the window after he kept, like, for 20 hours, he kept reblocking pretty much. Just every 2 hours, just kept reblocking. So that went out the window. But his blood is starting to thin. And at the end of day 24 hours of day 2, he was now pink lemonade, pretty much. That was about the color. It wasn't hints of pink. It was pretty much pink lemonade. It was slightly watered down. Like, it was mostly pink. Which, I went in and saw him at the end of day 2, like at 2200, and because I was curious how he's doing. And yeah, as soon as I saw his catheter bag, I was like, wow. I thought to myself instantly, that's a big improvement compared to what he was. So now we're going to day 3. Another $1,100 for $6,200. Holy fucking shit, you know. Oh, I forgot. Flagstaff was off by $100, so I had to pay before I left an extra $100 for something they gave him, so to try to help him. So actually, 62 actually, or 63. Yeah. So a little off on that one. Day 3. They're pretty much giving him normal water, what he would drink by himself. You know, giving him IV fluids. He still hasn't eaten. Since the 5th, he has not really touched food except for Tuesday morning, I mean, like 0100 to 0300 before he replugged himself those about 4 hours. He did eat half a can of food. But other than this point, he has not eaten. Like, he hasn't eaten or drank water. So he's not showing any interest. So that's also a bit of an issue too. But so at the end of day 3, he's still in the pink lemonade, you know. We're going to try trial discharge, you know, day 3, which would have been Friday morning, meaning, you know, like midnight to 06. His kidneys are happy. They are with the normal ranges now. They're perfectly happy. They're mellowed out. His bladders, because also the inflammation, they're swelling around both sides. So his bladder still inflamed, not swollen, slight swelling to it. The bleeding's from it stopped. There's gonna be a bit of a hint anyways because of the inflammation. I mean, a bit of some pink, but I mean, he's not fully flushed out, by the way. So meaning he still has these crystals in him, in these stones, still not going anywhere. But so day 3, right? We're like, and it was like $7,400 at that point because I had to pay that up front. So before day 4 would have happened in like 7 hours, I was like, hey, let's do a trial discharge. How do you feel? You know, what's the confidence level? And he said, we tried. I mean, he's starting to leak around his catheter, which I guess is a good sign too. Meaning the tube's in there and he's starting to squirt out around it. That's a good sign. But they did say he could still obstruct. He needs to, you know, make sure he goes at least every 24 hours, at least lets something out. But we put him in the truck. For the first 14 hours, he had no interest in eating or drinking. Luckily, I still had some of the meds and treatment and stuff that I was given from before. So I had this thing called subQ fluids, which is pretty much electrolyte. Oh, it's water with electrolytes and other minerals he'll need. So like I was giving him that for the first 24 hours. He was in the truck, so because I got him like I said, like 0200 Friday. He didn't pretty much eat till like going into Saturday. He didn't eat, but he had to drink something because they made sure to. I understood he does really need to drink water or something in the system to at least maintain that. So I gave him subQ fluids, which is pretty much I would pinch it between the shoulder blades, make a tent, and stick a needle underneath the skin and shoot fluids into there, which is what they told me to do. So Okay. That lasted, the 24 hours. Then he started going to Saturday. He started getting his own, eating. He started eating, but that's also when I picked the diet food. Took all the other options away. Only option was diet food. Took him a bit, but he started eating it. He actually likes it. He really does. He started drinking water. But is he fixed? No. He still has a lot of crystals and stones in him. They pretty much told me I could be dealing with this for a couple weeks, possibly longer, just however long it takes for him to flush them out. They pretty much said as long as he doesn't quite understand what his bladder's doing. So like he'll get the feeling, he'll go to squat, right, and it just dribbles out. Like he'll make it like a quarter-size dribble spot. Pretty much he'll like do like 7-8 drops, and then he'll get up. He'll leave the litter box, but he doesn't understand that he's still dripping. So they pretty much said as long as he's doing something, just let anything out, drips, that's fine, right? Nothing to worry about. But he didn't really do anything till, the first 2 days in the truck, Saturday, Sunday, it was good. Going to Monday, because he was catching up on fluids and food. Monday's when he finally drank everything. His bladder was full. Not drinking everything, but the bladder was full. So he had to go. And it was a bit of I felt bad for him. Felt bad. I have been giving him pen meds every 12 hours, so that helps. But he passed 3 stones through his whole system, meaning he pissed them out. And to give you the equivalent of these, they're about 2 centimeters in diameter. They're, to give you a better idea of what they, better idea in your head, think of them like small peas. The vegetable small peas, yeah. Painful. Now, they weren't like a solid chunk. Like any pressure, they would crumble. Like I said, any pressure, not like even just touching them, they would fall apart. But he did. It was exhausting work for him. This took about 3 hours from when he first started leaking to when he dumped half his bladder. It took 3 hours, and 2 of that was like pushing the stones out, and they were in a row. Like it was. I knew something was wrong because he dribbled out yellow, then went pink, and then went red, and then nothing. But like anybody has a dog knows they pant. A lot of upper body, upper chest stuff. So think of it like, here's my hands, here's the sides, right? So down near his, stomach and his hind legs, it was doing this, like just nonstop. He was pushing so hard that he kept farting. Like it was pretty stinky shit. But to be fair, he also hadn't took a shit this whole time either. So I could tell it was painful. He was not enjoying life. But he pushed him out. That was the biggest sign of relief. Because as soon as I saw that, I was like, oh no. I was starting to get nervous. I was like, I've already spent $7,400. Oh no, I can't afford I can't afford this shit anymore. Money started to dry up. He pushed him out, and immediately, he was so exhausted. He just laid there on the seat on his tail with trash bags. I haven't been able to get the PetSmart to get training pads yet. That's why. So, letting him use a towel that I use when there's no there's no towel available to shower. I have my own, but it's better than pissing on the seat or the bed and all that. Because he's not doing it on purpose. Like, he's not just leaving himself out to the litter box on purpose. Like once he starts once he triggers the system saying, let's go, it doesn't stop. It just keeps dribbling. So, he lay there not realizing he's doing it. He feels it hitting his fur and everything, but he doesn't know that he's still... What I'm saying is, he's like an infant. He doesn't quite understand what his body's doing to him to tell it to stop or to go. He's just having to just work through it. But he was so exhausted that he literally just, his forehead was facing the back of the seat, and he just did this, buried his head into the seat and just didn't move. The vet did tell me that I could help when I check his bladder, do the same thing, but kind of help him release the urine by kind of doing the massage. And that was helping. Up to this point, I have not seen anything more than a steady drip. But when after he pushed those stones, he started doing bursts of a thin burst, very pencil thin, pencil lead, of urine, which is fucking great news for me. I started seeing, I was like, oh my god, good. But there were bursts, and it was every few seconds. He only dumped half his bladder, which is fine. They said, like I said, they pretty much made sure I was well aware that anything is better. Just anything. Just as long as just don't push something out. The sole focus is that it keeps going. Doesn't need to necessarily dump his whole bladder, but just keeps going. At least every 24 hours. Once every 24 hours. Alright, so that was, well, like I said, that was Monday, so, or no. Yeah, so Monday, because it's a whole week now. Like I said, today's 15th. So yesterday, the 14th, he's still doing the stones. It wasn't as painful one. He was drip, but it did start mixing with pink, in the blood. I don't know, not a lot. He made a mess. Not showing the towel, and it fucking stinks. The urine, when it doesn't smell like ammonia anymore. But then once you mix his blood in, it gets a pungent smell. Oh my god, it reeks. It's very distinct. So day 2, or not day 2, but whatever the fucking day of this is at this point, 8, 9, something like that. Steady drip again. But there was no stone pushing. He didn't push anything out. You can tell my towel's white. These things are mostly white. So I can't really tell how much he pushed out. Because you still got the individual pebble, the actual, the single pieces of sand type thing, right? They're slightly bigger, but you get what I'm going to say in that. I can't tell because those are mostly white on a white towel. He's pushing them out. I would believe so based off the whole, slight pink thing. I'm actually going to call Phoenix here next couple hours for some more questions. I don't know if you guys are going to want an update about this. It's been a struggle for us both. Me more mentally, him more physically. Most people watch my channel. I'm a pretty upbeat guy. I'm pretty mentally tough. Very few things actually get through my thick head, but I'm actually kind of glad I deleted the first video and I had to remake it, because you would have almost seen me break down. There was that, the feeling where it's starting to show up on my face. I could feel it coming, and I kind of did a silent, pause for 5 seconds to kind of keep it. Because Flagstaff did tell me that when I got him in there, he was 24 to 36 hours from starting to crash, meaning his organs would have started shutting down, things like that. Slight infection, I guess. While he was in Phoenix too, he also kept getting a fever every now and then too. It would come and go. So his body was fighting. His body was on the verge of being very critical. But how's he been in the truck since he's been in here for Saturday, Sunday, Monday, Tuesday? Today's Tuesday? I don't know. I believe so. Yeah, today's Tuesday. So, Saturday, Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, 4 days. Going into 4 days, because they just turned the 15th. He's definitely acting more normal. The only time it really shows discomfort is really when he's trying to go. There's been a slight trend of progression. It's very small. It's the smallest up ever I've ever seen. It's this, instead of this. It is the most smallest angle upwards. What the fuck is pounding? Upward most likely dealing with this for another week. Really, what we're really looking for here, he needs to start shooting out streams of urine more consistently. And I've had 2 days back to back where it's been a burst, but it hasn't been steady. Like that Monday, I don't know, Sunday. Yeah, Sunday. Like Sunday's when he pushed up the stones. Yeah, the stone. That was actually mostly bursts of urine, because I think he pushed up the block, but I think he was so exhausted he didn't finish emptying his bladder. Because I mean, you could just tell he was like done, just flat out done. And it was like that when you worked it so long. You fucking just come in and you lay on the bed, like you don't care clothes on, you just fall on the bed, you just pass out. Like it was like that type thing. He didn't care what was going on, where he was. He just like was done, over with. But like it took like 2.5 hours to get those bursts of urine, and those bursts of urine were like for 15 minutes, and then it was just like, oh fuck this, I'm done. I wish he had emptied all his bladder, but like yesterday, it was like 90% drips, steady drips. I still rather see steady drips because I mean that they're coming out. It still tells me there was a lot of shit in the system, but you know, it's coming out with a cup, like about, you know, a few bursts of streams in there. So I mean, there is a slight, you know, trend. So as long as he doesn't block again, meaning full block where he doesn't push it through, because when I told the vet that he had 3 pushed out, and I sent him a picture. That picture has been posted in Discord, by the way. So I mean, I can show you the towel of the mess too, but I'm not gonna do that. I don't want to gross you guys out. Like this thing might, you know, you might not like this video, but it's like it's part of the road life. The steady drip is really all I can ask for right now, especially because as long as he doesn't block, meaning drip plugs, nothing comes out, no seepage, nothing, just complete blockage, and he can't push it out, then that's the issue. But the vet, like, it's told me many times, anything is better than nothing. Just anything. It doesn't matter if it's a steady drip, just keeps going. As long as he keeps going, that's all that I can really ask for right now, and they can ask for it. Now, okay, they did recommend a surgery. I'm gonna probably butcher the name, like a sectomy or whatever. Pretty much that's that whole thing I told you, where we cut them open and scoop them out. That's about an average of $1,000. So I would say $1 to $2,000 is what it's going to cost me. I don't really want to do that if he can keep pushing them out. Now, would I look into it if like here like a week and a half later down the road, he's still doing this issue? Yeah, probably. I mean, I'm probably he's trending upwards. So there's that. The other surgery I forgot to mention was, this one's a bit more expensive. I guess it's like an average like $4,000, something like that, $3-4,000. It's when they actually cut off the narrow part of your urethra to widen the hole. But that also makes him pee like a female. But I mean, I know, Cat, they're rough. But he squats pretty low as it is. So if you guys want to update to this video, or at least, you know, me to mention it, which I probably will anyways, but me to mention it with some focus and another video, I guess make a comment. I guess it's not been fun. It's I'm so over this fucking 2 weeks. Because also with this whole thing too, I was originally going home on February 21st. That went out the window, so now I'm probably not going home till March 21st to like April 4th, somewhere in that time frame. So I gotta make it. I need this to mellow out enough where I'm not spending money on this, which so far I haven't in like 4 days, but not to spend any more money on this. And then I need to save up all the money again that I spent on him. So, because yeah, that's how I was gonna go home for 3 weeks. That's how I was gonna afford to stay home for 3 weeks, and not worry so much about the 300 hours a week, 1,200 hours I had to make up for this. Because I was like, I mean, like I said, I consider myself lucky. it's part luck, but it was financially responsible. This all came out of shitty timing. If this happened in summer, I would have cared because he is my boy, but I wouldn't be stressing as hard over it because I would have had at least double the money sitting under me at least, and I could have just. I say there's over $7,000 in 6 weeks, so and I still have a little bit left over. It is not there's like it's gonna be pinching pennies for the next couple weeks just because this week's also next week is when my big bill week comes through, so that's the reason I'm pinching pennies is this, and then I got a week of break, and then immediately there's big bill week. So it's been fun. It's I guess we're gonna find out what happens in next couple weeks. But hey guys, you guys stay safe out there. Catch you next time. Bye.